Imagine a cozy cafe. Everything's dark oak wood and inviting, and dressed in a soft Christmas cheer. It smells of cinnamon, cloves, orange peel, and vanilla sugar. Coffee is brewing, and there's a scent of something else too. Perhaps mulled wine that makes the place feel even warmer. A cat is sleeping soundly on the counter next to a pile of festive books. The place is filled with peace and calm, but also joy that comes with the season. A warm feeling of family and togetherness is all-encompassing, and all strangers are welcome here to share in the feeling of home, coziness, and to soak up on some cat love this Christmas. There's a little more chatter this time, but no computers or phones to be seen. Just people enjoying the moment, enjoying their drinks, cat cuddles, and some conversation, and exchanging well wishes. For Christmas has finally arrived. Welcome back to the festive Cat Coach Café. Today, we're accompanied not just by our cat coaches, Aragorn, Apricot, and Prince, who are all thrilled to have you, but also by all our friends who visited Cat Coach Café in its second season so far, including two with whom we will start the year in January and February. We'll chat about all things Christmas. Welcome back CJ Fentiman, who visited us in season 1, to tell us all about Christmas in Japan and her favorite Christmas things. We'll give you a taste of what's to come in January and February by chatting to authors Carly Sorosiak, the author of My Life as Cat, and Emma Howarth, the author of A Year of Mystical Thinking. Alice Howard, Bethany Ellison, Lily Hayward, and Fiona Ferris will all share with us their favorite Christmas things and reminiscent on Christmases of the past, and talk about how they celebrate Christmas with their cats. And I also thought it's a good opportunity to invite the creator of the Cat Coach Cafe podcast musical theme, which makes this place extra cozy, my best friend and multi-award winning film composer, Ross Gilman. And I myself am curious about his Christmas favorites. Your kid coaches will join the Christmas conversation too and tell you all about their Christmas favorites and add some New Year's wishes too, as will everyone else. So lots of good stuff is waiting for you, including excerpts from some festive reads. But before all of that, we'll start with a little bit of magic of the winter solstice, where it all starts and which truly gave us Christmas. And then we'll talk about the most beloved Czech Christmas cake, which must not be missing from any Christmas table in the Czech Republic. So, are you ready? Then get yourself comfortable, grab a hot drink of choice, and perhaps your cat, and sit side by side. This festive time starts now. On Sunday, December 21st, at exactly 4 p.m. and 2 minutes of the Central European time, the winter solstice occurs, which means that after the shortest day of the year comes the longest night. It is also when the astronomical winter begins. From this moment on, however, the days will gradually begin to lengthen until the summer solstice. Our ancestors have been observing this astronomical phenomenon since ancient times. According to old legends, it is on this day when the power of the life-giving sun is the weakest, and that the combined forces of darkness reach the peak of their influence on Earth, and the border between our world and the forces of the underworld disappears. Slavic ancestors believe that at the solstice, Koleda or Kolyada, the old miraculous spirit of the sun, came, bringing in new life. When the sun set and the world fell into darkness, people feared that winter would last forever, However, Khaleda, the spirit of birth, was the one who returned to awaken the sun. One of the most famous legends says that Khaleda once came to a village in the form of an old man with a golden spear. As soon as the spear hit the ground, it shot out the rays of the sun and brought with it the beginning of a new cycle. This shows how people across generations believe that winter was not the end, only a transitional period before the arrival of new life. And thus Christmas really should be about celebrating a new beginning rather than the end. The winter solstice was celebrated by cultures all over the world, though. In ancient Europe, it was known as Yule, from the Norse Yule, which means wheel. It is where the Christian tradition of decorating a tree comes from these pagan celebrations. Families would bring a live tree into their homes to protect the spirits of the wood from the cold of the harsh winter months. Small trees would be hung on the tree as food offerings for the spirits, and a five-pointed star, a pentagram, a magical symbol of the five elements, would be placed at the very top. Since ancient times, it has been a custom to decorate one's home with mistletoe, especially mistletoe from the sacred oak tree, which was supposed to bring people good luck all year round. It was believed that during the winter solstice, when the border between our world and the world of the dead is open, and so the souls of the dead move freely around the world, which is why among the Slavs it was a custom to set the table for deceased family members at dinner as well, who would thus be invited for that dinner, and in whose honor a toast would then be made. Ancestors could also appear during the winter solstice in the form of unknown visitors, so everyone would be welcomed. During the winter solstice, however, same as on Halloween, not only the souls of deceased relatives could enter our world, but also various underworld spirits that could be dangerous. The most reliable protection was the proximity of a sacred fire, and the protective effect of garlic was also widely used. The winter solstice marks a key part of the natural annual cycle. The sun sets off on a new journey towards longer days and a new period of growth and renewal. In the spiritual sense, it reminds us that the old past must always die so that a new one can begin. So, what do you need to let die for something new to be born? Now, with that in mind, I asked Bethany, the Yogi Witch, and Emma Howarth, the author of A Year of Mystical Thinking, how do they see winter solstice? How do they celebrate it? And if Christmas is in any particular way important to the witchcraft. From the witch's perspective, what is Christmas? Is there anything special about it? Because at least in the Czech folk tradition, there is a lot of magical days actually surrounding it with time for prophecies. So I'm wondering, does it have any particular meaning in for a witch?
The ones that would spring to mind would be the winter solstice, which usually happens on kind of the 21st or 22nd, obviously where the night is the longest night of the year. And that's a time where witches very much would do spells of protection for their home because, darkness equals danger and all that kind of stuff. And it is a time where you would kind of do protection spells for yourself and for your family with the year ahead. Traditionally, I think this came from the Yule log. So for the 12 days of Christmas, the Yule log would be a log in the fire that would burn continuously for 12 days in order to ward off kind of evil spirits. But in terms of kind of winter or maybe Christmas, there's not maybe in my personal practice, not too much that delves into it. The summer, the winter solstice being it. It's when we start to move back into January, then that's when I feel like it gets a little bit more witchy. But I suppose you can make it as witchy as you want to.
I do try to make a point of celebrating the winter solstice. which is obviously, a few days before the true craziness of Christmas kicks off. And we'll usually try to invite some friends round and have like a fire outside, and then we kind of burn whatever we want to leave in that year. Whatever we're leaving in 2025, we burn it in on the winter solstice. And then kind of, have some sparklers, or you could have fireworks. I don't personally do that, but light some sparklers to kind of call in the light of the new year that's going to come. And often get people to write their wishes in the sky with their sparklers, just like a really simple, like, just nothing. What I love about those kind of solstice celebrations is Christmas is so high pressure. There's so much you've got to do. You've got to get everything right. You've got to have the right food. You've got to like get the right presents, like all of that stuff, all these parties you have to go to, and it's too much. But the winter solstice is really simple. You just, invite people around, get a few drinks in, bit of a cheese platter, some sparklers, a fire. Magic is served.
I awoke early, feeling excited about the coming festivities, and got up at once. The bedroom felt piercingly cold with frozen frosted windows once again, and I was glad to go downstairs. The fire was still hot, and I soon had a blaze going, which meant that I could start cooking in a short while. I made my morning brew of tea and a slice of toast covered in thick marmalade, and yet still Toby Jug hadn't appeared. No sooner had I thought that than Toby walked in and warmed himself in front of the fire while having a quick freshen up with a tongue wash. "Thought you'd have a lie-in, did you?" I asked. He looked at me as if to say, "Well, it is still dark, and anyway, it's only 6 o'clock. What's the rush?" I always talk to the animals and birds in my life as if they know what I am saying. In the case of Toby Jug, I was 100% sure that he not only understood what I said to him, but could sometimes read my mind. Similarly, I felt that I could read his. I was planning a surprise morning trip, but I wasn't ready to tell him about it yet. Urgency demanded that I check the oven, which I found to be roasting hot. Delighted, I took the roasting pan loaded with the prepared fowl and slid it into the hot oven, firmly closing the heavy iron door. I could imagine everything would be sizzling away in no time at all. Now for the surprise trip, but only after His Majesty had reluctantly made do with a handful of dry biscuits. The trip I had in mind was a visit to the old church at Felton. I knew that there wouldn't be a service until later in the day, but I felt a need on this special day to express on my own a spiritual feeling which was of ultra importance to me. It seemed an appropriate time of the year to review my life situation. I was in philosophical mood as I reflected on my circumstances, and that I was presently having it so good. I have long believed in the dictum of savoring the moment. For the last 3 years, I had been truly fortunate to be gifted with the cat I called Toby Jug. How long I would have him was out of my hands, but on this Christmas morning, I wished to visit a place of worship and give thanks. The fire was a roaring mass of blazing logs, and delicious cooking smells were circulating everywhere when we returned. Toby Jug, after initially warming himself, began to pad around in circles with his nose held high in the air, and his eyes half closed to better relish the exotic aromas. I chuckled as I watched him move to ecstasy when I opened the oven door to baste the goose. It was coming along very well, and I ladled off some goose fat into a stone storage jar before returning the pan to the oven. Well satisfied with development, I played carols to enhance the festive feeling. I reckoned the goose would take another 2 hours before it was ready to eat, and in the meantime I would sit in the conservatory and watch the snow and the birds ravaging the feeders I'd refilled with peanuts and suet pellets. I found this very relaxing, but Toby refused to leave the vicinity of the oven and the enticing fragrance of the cooking. But then he was always something of a cold Harry and could tolerate being very close to the fire much more than I could. With the added incentive of the cooking smells, proximity to the fireside was irresistible to him. The whole meal was a great success, and we both had second helpings of our preferred cuts. Afterwards, with our stomachs full, it was time for an afternoon snooze in front of the fire. Much later in the evening, I opened our presents, including a new deep cushion bed for Toby Jug and several packets of treats, which I was certain would be greatly appreciated. Before retiring for the night, I made myself a tasty sandwich of goose laced with hot mustard and mug of creamed coffee with a glass of Maddie's Chartreuse. Toby had some chicken and a saucer of warm milk, to which I'd added the contents of a halibut oil capsule to keep him healthy. I banked up the fire with coal to last till morning, and then we were off to bed. It had been a super Christmas in which I tried new things and once again enjoyed my time in the cottage with Toby Jug, whose presence in my private world banished any feelings of loneliness I might otherwise have had. During the next few days, I would return to my writing since there was a strong likelihood that we would be snowed in, but there was plenty of food and I hadn't arranged to go anywhere in particular. The forecast proved to be accurate, and for the next week, we experienced severe weather conditions with icy temperatures and lots of snow. I did venture out on a few short walks with Toby Jug just for the fresh air and the exercise, but the cat was miserable in the very deep snow, and we both tended to end up chilled to the bone. The new year passed without incident, except that I began thinking of having some kind of celebration for the anniversary of Toby Jug's entry into my life. This excerpt was taken from the beautiful book Toby Jug by Dennis O'Connor. This year will be the first year I'll be spending Christmas with my niece. My sister is coming with her whole family, which now includes my little nephew too, who's only about 9 months old. So it will definitely not be the quiet Christmas of the last few years for me. But I couldn't be more excited, especially to be able to share it with my beloved niece, who at nearly 4 years of age will finally be able to truly take in all the magic, which will surely help me relive it too. When me and my sister were little, my grandparents had a really special Christmas ornament. It wasn't just a bauble, but some sort of a blown glass figurine, which to us children was absolutely magical. And each year we looked forward to seeing it on the tree again. And as we got older, we would argue about who would be the one to put it on the tree. Now that my grandparents are no longer with us, this ornament has passed on to me, and I hang it on the tree each year and think of my grandparents and the Christmases of the past. It holds so many memories, but I also think of the magic it represented. Even if today no one would look twice at it, as it bears signs of its age and it isn't really pretty or shiny according to today's standards, but to me, it's still equally magical, even if it lost some of its shine and the face of the figurine is partly scuffed. I wanted to create a memory like that for my niece too, and so I bought a special Christmas ornament in the shape of some sort of a wooden creature that holds so much magic, with the hope that her children's eyes will find it even more magical than I do, but equally magical to what we saw with my sister and that old ornament. And every time we'll be spending Christmas together, she'll be the one to hanging on the tree. It will be truly her ornament. And I hope that one day it will symbolize for her the Christmases with her aunt. Just as to me, having it on my tree, even when we'll not be together, will always symbolize her. And in that way, we will always be together. And I plan for my nephew to get his own ornament one day to prevent them from arguing about just one like we did with my sister. What new tradition will you establish this year, I wonder? My name is Alfie, and I'm a doorstep cat, which basically means I have different families and homes I visit. I do live in one main house, here with my kitten George on Edgar Road. Our humans are Claire and Jonathan, and their children Toby and Summer. But there is another family on this road we spend time with, Polly and Matt, and their children Henry and Martha, and yet another family who live a few streets away, Francesca, Tomasz, and their children Alexei and Tommy. Phew, it's a lot of families and friends to keep track of. I met them when I moved to Edgar Road after an arduous journey, having been homeless after my old owner, Margaret, died. But that does feel like another lifetime. They say cats have 9 lives. Well, I reckon I've used a few of those up to get to where I am today, although I still have plenty left. Christmas Eve passed in a whirl of activity with all the families that George and I decided to visit. We always spent Christmas Eve together and liked to think we were a bit like Santa cats, as we delivered good cheer to everyone we cared about. Although we didn't dress up, Claire had tried to dress me up once, and let's just say it didn't end well for any of us. We started with Harold. Marcus and he were laughing in the living room as we sat on the windowsill until they let us in. Their Christmas tree was wonky, and even George didn't seem keen on trying to jump onto it anymore, which was a bit of a relief for me. They were both preparing sprouts, which they were going to bring to us for lunch tomorrow, and some other vegetables, which were all very sensible and not terribly tempting for us cats. But Marcus said he also had brought some nice wine, chocolates for the adults, and a big jar of sweets for the children, which I knew would be gratefully received. He looked at George and I, and then winked at his dad. "We've got a present for the lovely cats too," he said. My ears pricked at this, and I hoped it was some kind of fish, although I think George was hoping for dunked biscuits. "We better head, these cats deserve a medal," Harold said affectionately, and I basked in the fact that I'd been acknowledged for once. But I would much rather have had pilchards than a medal. I wasn't even sure what a medal was. We left them a little while later, full of good cheer, and went to visit Polly and Matt. Matt was trying to get the children to sit still and watch a film, but they weren't really in the mood. They were both so excited, babbling about what Santa would bring them, and even Martha, who was normally quite chilled out, was bouncing around. "Alfie and George," Henry beamed as we entered the living room. "Oh, good, we can play," Martha said, and Matt just shook his head in defeat. Their living room was decorated beautifully, but then, as Polly was an interior designer, we all expected nothing less. Their tree was so tasteful, and she got away with it by giving the children their own tree to decorate, which was in the corner of the living room and was a bit of a mess. Polly told Claire it was all right because he couldn't really see it, but George loved it because he could jump on it, which totally ruined it, but made the children laugh. I despaired along with Matt, but Polly said he could do anything to that tree as long as he didn't touch hers. For once, George actually took notice of this and didn't dare go near her tree. No one did, not even Matt. Matt and Polly were the best at decorating. They had lights outside the house and reindeer scattered around the small front garden. Claire had begged Jonathan for something similar, but he'd refused, saying that he'd probably fall off the ladder or it would take him all of December to do, as our house was bigger, so it was left undecorated outside. It was the only battle that Jonathan won, really, and as Claire wasn't going to do it herself, she said the kids could just admire Polly and Matt. Polly came downstairs looking a little flustered, which wasn't like her. "I ran out of sellotape," she said. and I've still got loads of wrapping to do. You see, she was so disorganized. The shops will be closed now, Matt said. Even he looked alarmed. Are all the kids? No, Polly said quickly. I need more. Meow, I said. Claire will always have spare, I tried to tell her. Claire had drawers full of it. We never ran out. Oh, Alfie, thank goodness. I'll just nip to Claire's to borrow some. Are you sure you're okay with the kids? Polly asked. Not really, but then they've eaten a mountain of chocolate coins, so what did I expect? I'd never seen a man look so defeated. Actually, shall I go get the sellotape? He asked, smiling at the idea of escape. No, I think I'd better go, Polly said. After all, we've still got loads to do before the carol concert, and he'll probably have a drink with Jonathan. She was right. He would. And I could see from the disappointment on his face that that was what he had been hoping for. I cheered up at the mention of the concert. There was always a Christmas Eve carol concert for the children at the local church, and although George and I didn't get to go, it meant that Francesca and family would visit us either before the concert or after, so I would get to see them briefly. I'd have liked to have seen Dustbin, but we really didn't have time. Christmas Eve was a busy day for us all, as I've said. After we left Matt and the children trying to sort out the small Christmas tree that George had all but squashed, we went to see our friends. They were all waiting to wish us Merry Christmas, and we chatted about what we were looking forward to most about the following day. Food, I said, which was true, and all the humans I love being together, of course. I like the wrapping paper, George said. He hadn't grown out of playing with that yet either. Oh, I do love the fact that we have visitors all day and they make such a fuss of me, Nellie said. I like the fact I get to sleep a lot because my lot go out for quite a while and there's nothing like a good Christmas Day nap. I wasn't sure I agreed with Rocky, but as long as he was happy. I like the Queen's speech, Elvis declared. She does it every year on TV, and when she comes on, we all go quiet and listen very intently. It wouldn't be Christmas without it. No one knew quite what to say about that. I had never even heard of it. But anyway, we passed a pleasant few minutes before I felt something wet landing on my fur. Oh no, it's raining, I said. No, Dad, it's not raining. It's snowing, George said. Look. We all looked up at the sky and snow was actually falling. We all stuck our tongues out to catch it, and it definitely made us all feel even more Christmassy. This excerpt was taken from the beautiful book Alfie in the Snow by Rachel Wells, which is part of the Alfie book series. I highly, highly recommend this series, and especially the first part, which is not Christmassy, but will forever hold a special place in my heart. Such a special book. Perfect for a last-minute Christmas gift as well, to yourself or to your loved ones. Christmas sweet pastries made from yeast dough have a long tradition in the Czech Republic, and Vánočka is the oldest Christmas pastry in our country. Vánočka appeared on the Christmas Eve table more than 500 years ago. It then settled in households in the 18th century. It has its roots in Slavic pagan celebrations of the solstice. Vánočka was usually braided from 9 parts into 3 tiers. It was a braid of 4 rolls of dough. On top of them was a braid of 3. And finally, on the very top was a braid of 2. The braiding of braids of the Vánočka had its own symbolic meaning. The lower, strongest strands represent the earth, the sun, water, and air. In the middle layer, reason, will, and emotion. The top 2 braided strands symbolize knowledge and love. The appearance of braided Vánočka reminded people of the newborn Jesus wrapped in swaddling clothes. Vánočka thus became a symbol of new life and fertility, and therefore it wasn't allowed to be missing from any Christmas Eve table. Several of Vanochkas were usually baked, one for each member of the family, and the largest and most richly decorated one was placed on the festive table in the evening. It was also often given as a gift, especially in poorer areas. And in Prague, it was customary for bakers to carry a huge Christmas Vanochka to Prague Castle on Christmas Eve morning, accompanied by musicians and people dancing. Now it's time to welcome back CJ Fentiman, who I've asked all about Christmas in Japan, but also in Australia, where she lives now, and her favorite Christmas things. So, how is Christmas celebrated in Japan, if in any way? Because it's obviously not part of their culture, but do they celebrate it in any way at all?
The most interesting thing I learned about living in Japan was KFC is a huge thing in Japan.
Okay.
And apparently it came from a very successful marketing campaign in the 70s. And it became very, very popular for Japanese people to go and order KFC, and they would have it as their Christmas meal. All of the families would come together, and it's become so popular that it often sells out at Christmas time. So they
Oh my
have to
God.
pre-book their KFC in order to have it at Christmas. So that was a very, very quirky thing because obviously in, Europe and USA and Australia, KFC's everywhere and we don't think of it as being anything particularly special. But in Japan, it's connected to Christmas. So
It's
yeah,
really
that
strange.
was very, very strange. And I guess the other thing is the fact that there's a lot of, illuminations everywhere on the street where we lived. They had inflatable Christmas, they call them Santa Sans. So a big red Father Christmas that was floating in the air. So even though it's not really their tradition, because obviously Christmas, I think it originally is St. Nicholas is from Norway, I think. But the Japanese have really got on board with the whole Christmas idea. But I would have to say that New Year is their main holiday, not Christmas.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
So, and how did you spend Christmas when you were in Japan?
So when I was living at British Hills, it was quite a traditional, we had the British pub there that was named after one of the characters in William Shakespeare's novels. And they had a refectory that was built upon the Oxford refectory. So we had I think 4 or 5 course dinner there. It was all very posh and had all of the different cutlery that even I struggled with using at the time. So we had a traditional Christmas when we were living with other expats on top of a mountain. But then when we was living with more Japanese community, we got very involved more with the New Year's celebrations. So we went along to the shrines that would open up during the day and then to midnight, and we would there was 3 claps at the shrine, and then people would put money into the shrine for the New Year's wish. And then I remember New Year's, all of the children at our school that we was teaching, and even I would send out these postcards, and they were sent out on the 1st of January. And it was a postcard for the new year, and it would often have like the Chinese zodiac animal of that year and maybe Mount Fuji in the background. And it would be to wish people well for the future year, and you would send it to maybe your work colleagues, your family, or your friends. So I did one year with me, my cat, my Japanese friend's cat, and so there was the 4 of us in the picture, and that went all over Takayama, I think.
That's really cool.
That was cute.
And do you love Christmas, or did you miss Christmas in Japan the way you were maybe used to celebrate it, or not really? Are you not really a Christmas person?
I don't know. Christmas is always very special because it's the only time of the year that you actually get to kind of, be in real time and be with your friends and family and decompress. And definitely these days, it's probably the only time that I actually shut off from, doing and be still and actually enjoy the moment and indulge a little bit in foods I probably wouldn't eat throughout the year as well. Because Japan was in the Northern Hemisphere, it was the same season. So we would get, a lot of snow where I was living because we were close to Siberia, near to Fukushima, so quite far north. So yeah, the Christmassy cold winter aspect and log fires and holly, all of those things I really, really like. But obviously I don't get that living in Australia because it's reverse. So winter time or Christmas time is summertime in Australia. So that I still struggle with, having hot Christmases, going to the beach, having barbecues, people wearing red bikinis. It's still a novelty, but I don't know that I will ever really think of it as Christmas. For me, Christmas, being a European, is cold winter,
Yes, same, yeah.
yeah, big jumpers and being cold, going for winter walks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I always think, that I can't imagine. That's why I could never move to a part of the world where it's reversed, because I love it too much. I can't imagine Christmas like that, and I love Christmas too much. So
Yeah.
yeah.
In Australia, they have something called winter in July, because obviously the seasons are reversed. So winter in July or Yuletide in July. So you might go up to the Blue Mountains where in July it might snow sometimes. So it's very, very cold in July in the Blue Mountains. So you can accommodate it, but obviously it's not the same.
It's not the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some of your favorite Christmas traditions that you keep?
My favorite, well, I guess from Japan, I learned cosplay for cats, which I would never have known about in the UK. But my friend last year from Tokyo, she sent me some gorgeous Japanese costumes for my cats. One was like a wraparound scarf, like a Santa red and white scarf. So yeah, Japanese are very good at dressing up their pets at Christmas time, which is a tradition that I have taken on. I guess Christmas morning, we would wrap up all of our presents and the cats would get to open their presents first. And so, we open them for them and then they play in all of the wrapping paper and things.
I was gonna say,
yeah. So that's probably the tradition that we've taken with us. But traditions back home that I remember would be, like things like the Oxford Street Christmas lights. That was always, I remember growing up as a kid, it was always exciting who was turning on the Christmas lights every year. And it was people like the Spice Girls or Kylie Minogue. So I kind of miss that aspect as well. The build up to Christmas was always quite special growing up. Things that I've carry on, I guess, I would have a nice glass of champagne as I open my presents, a glass of champagne at Christmas, on Christmas Eve as well. And I have friends here in Australia that are from Estonia and Poland, and so they're very much into making gingerbread on Christmas Eve. So I'd spend Christmas Eve with them and make gingerbread with their kids as well. So yeah, it's nice. I mean, Australia is very multicultural, so there's lots of influences from lots of different places here. So it's nice to share different people's take on Christmas, because I think in Czech Republic, do you celebrate more on Christmas Eve than Christmas Day?
Christmas Eve, yeah. Christmas Eve is the main one. We open the presents. Yeah.
So I wasn't aware of that before I'd lived in Australia, but then all of my friends here taught me that, that it's not Christmas Day for them, it's Christmas Eve is more important. So yeah, it's nice to learn how different people in different parts of the world celebrate Christmas as well.
Yeah, for us, it's like all wrong opening presents in the morning in pajamas. It needs to be in the evening, really well dressed and
yeah.
So yeah, you got it wrong.
No, probably we have.
I remember when my sister had her British partner and they would come for Christmas to the Czech Republic every year. We would always tease him because obviously he was used to 25th. We would always tease him like, that's all wrong. That's all wrong. You got it all wrong. But he loved Czech Christmas, I have to say. He always loved it. And I think he misses it even now that they're long separated.
Yeah, there's something nice, I think, about having, it being nighttime and having the lights from the Christmas tree
Yeah,
and having
yeah,
the drinks and the mulled wine in the dark. Yeah, it's something
yeah.
quite romantic and quite special about that,
Yeah.
I think,
And
as
when we
well.
were kids, our parents really made it special for us because after the Christmas dinner, we wouldn't be allowed into the room where there was the Christmas tree. The door would be closed. And here, when I was little, the tradition used to be that the Christmas tree would only be decorated on the 24th. So in the evening, on Christmas Eve, that would be the first time we would see it all lit up. So that was really magical. And that would be after the Christmas dinner. So we would have to wait in another room. And then they would let us in. And my grandpa would have like this glass like bell. He would always use it to say that Santa was there and brought presents and it's all ready. And we would be let into the room with the lit up tree that we would see for the first time. And all the presents would be there. So it was really magical.
Yeah, and then there's something nice, I think, about that expectation, isn't there? Whereas
Yeah.
nowadays, you see Christmas trees in October, so it's really,
Yes.
there's no
Yes.
thrill in
Yeah.
that anymore, is there?
Every year Christmas starts earlier and earlier. And
Yeah,
with that, I feel a little bit of that magic is gone. So
absolutely.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. Do you have any particular gift, like memory of a Christmas gift that you received that made you extra happy, even perhaps as a child or anything? Does anything come to mind as your favorite Christmas present?
Not so much as a Christmas present, but I do remember on Christmas Eve always playing Monopoly at my aunt's house.
Hmm.
And they were, the family of, bankers, I think. So they're always very good with money. And so I was terrible, I was always quite creative and not very good at maths as a child. So they'd collect all of the money and I'd still be going around, with one greenhouse. But it was a nice occasion, even though I always lost, I think, because it brought the family together and we were doing an
Hmm.
activity that ordinarily no one would do. So yeah, I think playing games at Christmas is a special memory. I'm trying to remember a Christmas present that I would have particularly liked. Not really sure. Maybe something for the horses because I grew up with horses when I was a child. So
Hmm.
it would probably have been, a bridle or a saddle or something to do with horses. I'm fairly certain because I was a horse enthusiast growing up. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna quickly ask you about your favorites and give me your questions without overthinking it. Like, first
Mhm.
thing that comes to mind. There's just a
Okay.
few. So, favorite Christmas film?
Well, I'm going to say Love Actually because it's the first one that comes to mind, but it probably isn't actually Love Actually. But let's say that just for now.
Okay,
And
fine. If you
because it's set in London, so when I watch it here and I'm living in Sydney, it probably brings back nostalgic memories of being in the UK. Yeah.
favorite Christmas song?
It'd have to be Wham! Last Christmas.
Yes.
I love George Michael. I watched a documentary about Wham! Recently, and I was like, I didn't realize at the time how amazing they were. And I think, watching them as an adult, because when that song came out, I was a child. It kind of gave me a new appreciation of how talented they were.
Yeah. Favorite Christmas meal?
That's difficult because I'm a vegetarian. So definitely roast potatoes. But I like to have all of the trimmings, like the mint sauce and the cranberry sauce and Yorkshire puddings and lots of veggies, mashed carrots and Swedes, mustard. Yeah, everything but the meat.
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah, which can be problematic for a lot of people.
Yes, yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
And favorite Christmas treat or sweet or something?
Oh, interesting. So in Australia, they have pavlova. So it's like a meringue base with fruits and creams on. So I guess the similar thing in the UK would be eaten mess. So I've gotten to like that quite a lot over the years, I have to say. Yeah, so probably, pavlova.
One day you need to come to the Czech Republic and try our like 12, 16 types of Christmas cookies that we make
Oh,
every
wow, yeah,
year.
absolutely. It is on my list for sure.
Now that we've heard from CJ all about her favorite Christmas things, I thought I'd ask all our remaining guests about their favorite Christmas memories, gifts, traditions, and how they spend Christmas with their furry friends.
Oh my God. My favorite thing about Christmas. It is, again, I'm very basic, but it is kind of that sense of joy in the air. Like, Christmas is overwhelming, but I feel that everyone's just very joyful. They're very happy, and it is very contagious, that sense of joy. People finishing work or Christmas parties or people coming home. And that is, when I think about Christmas, that is what I feel. I physically feel it in my heart, that sense of joy. It's almost kind of like a childlike joy. And that's what I'd say about my favorite part of Christmas is that people are actively being happy, which is crazy, but it's cringy, but I love it so much. Just that sense of joy, I think, would be my favorite part about Christmas.
I think it's just being with the people, and that sounds cliched, I know, but it really is. It's the people that make Christmas for me, and that's why I'm not so much into gifts. I just like being with people and spending the day with them, and everyone's got their nice outfits on, dressed up a bit for Christmas, and you make it special with a glass of bubbles, and you've got because it's summer here, we have the fresh berries and lovely treat foods to nibble on. So that's my favorite part of Christmas. And like I said, that park day we had, where it was just really simple but really lovely. That was a really neat day. And it's also the people that are no longer with us, like my dad and my grandmother. Just thinking of them, being with them at Christmas as well, back in the day. And I guess it makes you make the most of it now because, a lot can happen from one Christmas to the next,
Very true.
So it's just appreciating everybody and making it special. Yeah.
I think it sort of goes back to a fairly sort of pagan feeling of light in the darkness. And I love that about Christmas. I love sort of fairy lights and candles and just this idea of, when the sun is the furthest away and when warmth is the furthest away, we bring it into the home and kind of celebrate the fact that we can create light in the darkness.
Favorite thing about Christmas generally is I love gift giving. I love thinking about the things that other people would be excited to open, and that anticipation of joy always really gets me. So I love thinking about what would be the perfect gift that would make that person the happiest.
Yeah.
I guess my favorite thing about Christmas is reuniting with family and friends. I'm based in the UK, but I spent my teenage years and a long section of my life in Germany, where my parents still live, and lots of my friends are still based in Germany. And Christmas is usually the time where I see my family and see my friends. So that's one of the wonderful things about Christmas.
And what is their favorite memory?
I'm a Christmas baby, so I'm the 18th of December I was born,
Oh, wow.
and I adore it. But the lead up to Christmas is my favorite time of year. So my happiest memories, I think, some of the happiest memories of my life are just spending time with my babushka auntie, who used to live in the north of England, well, Midlands really, actually, in this lovely old house, and going and seeing all my friends there and sledding down the hills by the little brook, and just being so happy, just everyone being my people, everyone getting me, understanding me feeling completely at peace. My cousin Sophie I adored. She was a bit older than me. And that village in Rutland where we used to stay, just being just the most happy memories of Christmas. Also, my brother used to dress up as Father Christmas, my older brother. I've got two much older brothers, And on my birthday, which was obviously exactly a week before Christmas, my school friends would come round, and we had this house in London, quite a reasonably big Edwardian house, lovely room with a conservatory, an old 1910s conservatory. And we'd always, it ran for years, this little tradition. We'd all be round the table, sort of singing happy birthday and that. And then my mum, in her, brilliant way, brilliant sort of theatrically, perfectly timed way, would say, "What's that in the garden?" And at the end of the garden, there'll be a little twinkle coming along between the hedges of a little sort of wooded bit at the end of the garden. And then it would turn and it would be Father Christmas. My brother dressed as Father Christmas, but it would be Father Christmas. And the magic is just like, was unreal.
Mm.
As he would open the door of the conservatory and we'd all stand, this line of little boys, like apoplectically terrified with excitement, that we were going to scare him away, as he put presents down. So I just love Christmas, and the Christmas markets of Edinburgh are lovely, and the feel of it. But I think so much of it is when you're an adult, it's the anticipation of it. In kind of the anticipation dies harder than the actual day in terms of feeling in a strange sort of way. The magic of the actual day, I think, kind of goes when you're an adult
Yeah.
reasonably quickly, because you've got children and you're so worried about things being all right and the dinner coming together and the logistics. And it's not really, there's a reason you don't see a lot of that family throughout the year, but the expectation, the month lead up, that doesn't or hasn't seemed to diminish with age, which is odd. So I love I love it all. I love the commercial side of it. I love the first adverts. Um, I love the cheesy songs. I love the old traditional songs, the old traditional films and the carols. Yeah, I love it all. I do like it very much, but increasingly as I'm older, the actual day, I sort of, yeah, I'm sort of relieved a little bit when it's over, if it's been a complicated day. But now my little boy is turning 3, it's going to start to come, I think, alive again with that magic on the day. This will be the first Christmas he really understands, I think. So maybe it'll come back again.
Every year, we would always put a big red Christmas bow on my dog Sally for our family photos. And that is the photo that my parents chose out of all of our family photos to use, like just of the dog. Like that's what we had on our wall. Like they cropped out all the people, and my dad used to call her Super Sally Christmas Dog, and I remember that because she looked like a superhero, and she was just a beautiful dog. So yeah, that was the first thing that popped into my head was Super Sally Christmas Dog.
That's awesome.
I guess my most vivid Christmas memory is actually a New Year's memory, because I spent my childhood in Russia, where we celebrate New Year's just the same as Christmas in the West, with presents and a tree. And I remember that at one point in the living room there was no tree, and my dad, I guess he somehow tricked me into believing that he made the tree magically appear when we returned from a walk. And of course, in the meantime, I guess my mum was decorating the tree. So that's a memory I have recall.
Do they keep any special Christmas traditions?
Yeah, yes, my family do have. So for me growing up, Christmas Day wasn't that big a deal. I can't. It was obviously, but it wasn't that big a deal. But Christmas Eve is where my family flourished. So our tradition every year is Cheesemas Eve, where we have dinner is basically just as many varieties of cheese as you can get, and Cheesemas Eve. We have to go to it, and after that, then my brother and I, and now my husband, we receive a new pair of pajamas. And this has been something that's been going on since I was a baby, that we'd always be given a new pair of pajamas on Christmas Eve. So we wake up on Christmas Day in these fresh new pajamas, And yeah, that is a tradition that has been going on for, I'm 31, it's been going on for 31 years and it's never changed. And I love it so much. Each year I send my mother a picture of what I would like for pajamas. Each year we get them.
I think it's just spending time with my family really, and seeing my sister. And me and my sister every year we write silly carols together. So we'll write a new song and then we'll sing it to my family whether they want to hear it or not.
That's awesome.
So that's one thing we've always done, and still do, which is lovely.
And which is a gift
And
for your family, obviously.
obviously, it's a gift. It might not be a particularly wanted gift, but
But still a gift.
but they receive it anyway. So I think that, and gifts, I always try to hand make some things. So I usually try to make, some jam or some gin or some spirits or something to give to people, because I always prefer handmade gifts, really.
Not particularly special. I would say perhaps that we usually sit together on Christmas Eve on the 24th, according to German traditions, rather than how it's done here in the UK or the US on the 25th in the morning. We open presents and we have dinner on the 24th in the evening.
Do you know what? For years and years, when I put the Christmas decorations away, myself, my two daughters, and my husband write down a wish for the year ahead when we put the Christmas decorations away, and we put it in the box. And then when we open the decorations, we go, "Oh, did you manage to do that? Did that come true? Did that happen?" That's a really lovely little tradition that costs nothing.
That's really cool. What about any favorite Christmas gifts from the past?
My favorite Christmas gift was probably a Lego set, my first ever Lego set. We had just moved to Germany from Russia and I had always wanted a Lego set, and I got probably the most tiny Lego set there is, but I was uber excited for days, and that was my first Christmas gift in the West and my most vivid Christmas gift memory. I remember that I had an empty room with it was a relatively large room. I was tiny, so maybe that's why the room was even larger, but there was nothing in the room as far as I remember, apart from a bed. And that tiny little Lego set made me super happy, and yeah, that stayed with me. I guess there's one more memory that comes to mind. When I was perhaps 7 or 8 years old, I got a lunar vehicle which was remote controlled, and it was all flashy and made cool sounds, and it could tell it to move around. So I was an explorer during these Christmas days on the moon with my lunar vehicle. It was very small, I considered it, but it was still very cool.
How do you make your pets part of Christmas?
Oh my God, I feel like every day is Christmas for them. Every day. But I am that pet mum who will buy them outfits. Last year I got them Christmas hats, which brought me so much joy. I can't describe. Every time a guest came round, I would put them in their Santa hat and it would bring me so much joy. But they are very much part of the family. We have a family photo every year in front of the Christmas tree. My favorite photo being me, my husband, and the dog, and then the cat on the Christmas tree behind us, causing havoc. That's my favorite Christmas photo we have. And we buy them presents for Christmas. They have a little treat for Christmas. So I feel like they're always there. They're always a part of Christmas.
They have their own tree.
No, we have a little tree. We have a tree, but the cat loves the tree.
Okay,
He's obsessed with it. So he climbs up that tree, and we'll be watching TV. You'll just see the tree swaying from side to side because he's just kind of in it and whacking the baubles off. Honestly, he's a nightmare with that Christmas tree. It's always taken down by Boxing Day because he's caused so much havoc.
I've been very lucky in that sense because my cats don't care about the tree. I mean, they don't climb it at all. So
what I'd give. We start off, the Christmas tree's covered in decorations. By Christmas night, there's no decorations left on there because he's whacked them all off. And by Boxing Day, I'm taking the tree down because I can't stand it anymore.
they always get a treat of some kind. I think last year I bought Forrest a new scratching post, which he liked a lot. And I am quite bad for slipping them treats. Anyway, because I think, well, if I'm eating something nice, then they should eat something nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I feel like it's only fair. So yes, they do tend to get more treats at Christmas than they would the rest.
I mean, quite often we'll, put him in a stocking. Maybe put a little outfit on him. We do generally like treat him like a toy to dress up and play with quite a lot. He's really good at not climbing Christmas trees, so we don't have any of those issues. But yeah, we just, he's just generally around. He's not really specifically incorporated, just dressed up, and
It's part of the family.
yeah, we might wrap him up a couple of presents sometimes.
They always get a little treat. I've stopped buying so many treats because I don't know how good they are for them, and the really chewy ones, I worry they're going to pull their teeth out. But there's one called duck tenders that they really loved, but they were so hard that I sort of slowed down how many they have just to save their teeth. But I bought some little red velvet tiny stockings that only be as big as your hand, and they're pet. I don't think they're meant to be pet stockings, but I bought one for each of our pets with their initial on them, from a local store. They were inexpensive, and they've had them year after year. And I put a duck tender in each one, and for the cat I put some cat biscuits in it for her, so they have their little stocking hanging on the tree. It's really cute. So Nina has a little red velvet stocking on the tree with an N on it, and the little faux white fur around the top of the stocking. And so I really love putting those on the tree when we decorate the tree each year. And the past Christmas just gone, I found one still had a duck tender in one of the dog's stockings. So one of them missed out because there's like maybe 3 or 5 duck tenders sticking out like a little bouquet out of the stocking, but one of them was shorter and had dropped into the stocking, and so that was really desiccated. But yeah, I don't know who missed out there, but I really love putting these stockings up. I think it's a cute thing. So I don't have children, so I put my pet stockings up on the tree each year.
And since we have a film composer here on the podcast, I had to ask, what's his favorite Christmas song or carol or music?
Favorite Christmas song? John Williams' Home Alone, I guess I will need to say.
Okay. It's not
What
really
else?
Christmas.
Yeah, ta 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 ta. That's totally a Christmas song. It's
Okay.
100% Christmas. I think actually John Williams in an interview saw said that he always wanted to write a Christmas song, and Home Alone finally gave him the opportunity to do that. So I think it's a wonderful Christmas classic, but also something like Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, which I actually recorded on the violin a few years back and is now available on all streaming services. Shameless plug here, but yeah, it's truly one of my favorite Christmas songs, and that's why I recorded it.
Hey guys, your cat coach is here. Yes, it's all of us together this time. After all, this is a time of gatherings, right? So since we welcomed back so many lovely folks to talk about their favorite Christmas things, we thought it's only polite to join this gathering and add our side of things. So, favorite thing about Christmas? Who wants to go first? Okay, you, Prince. So, my favorite thing about Christmas are the vanilla crescents. They smell heavenly, and on Christmas, they are finally allowed to be eaten. I mean, somewhat allowed. Somehow, I still need to steal my piece, but that's part of the fun. I, Apricot, love the extra cuddle time. Our humans become very cat-like during this time. They spend most of their days stretched on the sofa, tucked in super soft blankets no respectable cat could resist. So I take full advantage of that. They mostly move just to get some more food or to go for a short winter walk, but otherwise, it's pretty easy to spend most of the day stretched on one of them. I mean, what more can you wish for, right? And to you, Aragon? Well, my favorite thing must be the lights. I really love the twinkling lights and napping by them. It's somehow so extra cozy, and the overall peacefulness, with no one rushing anywhere, it's just a bliss. Okay, next, your favorite Christmas memory, Prince? Well, being in the spirit world now, my favorite Christmas memory are all the Christmas memories. Truly. It's all so magical, so just enjoy every bit of it. Every moment is so very special. Ah, and your Aragon? I think one of those first Christmases when I was still merely a young kitten and discovered the baubles on the tree. They were so shiny and sparkly, I couldn't resist them. I was mesmerized by the novelty of the sight of them. Of course, I still appreciate them today, but you know, that feeling of seeing something magical for the very first time, that just stays with you. And you, Apricot? My favorite memory would probably be the last Christmas we spent all together. You, me, and Prince. We didn't know it back then, but even if Prince is with us in his slightly transparent form, which doesn't take up any space on the sofa, yeah, maybe that taking up of the space on the sofa was actually the special part. Thanks, bro. I'm a little teary now, but I appreciate the sentiment, and I'll try to take up some more space this year. I just need to figure out how. I bet you will. Okay. What was your favorite gift? Oh, I know. Yes, Apricot? Any favorite toy. You can't say any, it's supposed to be one. But I love them all. I don't care which one it is. So long it's got a feather. And I really hope there will be a new one this year again. I love growing my toy collection. Yeah, especially the feathery ones, we know. Yeah, exactly. And you, Aragon? Well, for me, it would probably be any gift that was actually food. Of course. And see, you also say any. Well, yes, you're right, Apricot. But I also absolutely love that wrapping paper from last year's gift. Don't really remember the gift, but the wrapping paper was pretty epic. That noise it made, awesome. So maybe that's actually my favorite present of all. And what about you, Prince? My favorite Christmas gift was probably when the sister of our human used to come for Christmas. I know it's not technically a gift for me, but I used to be very fond of her as well as the fella she used to bring with her. Those were good times. Yeah, family matters, even if it takes up a lot of space. Yeah, definitely. So, any final words? Well, yes, of course. Let's wish all our listeners and readers the most perfect Christmas together. And no matter what you do and how you spend your Christmas, remember, all the little moments matter. They do. Oh, indeed they do. Yeah, I agree. Wait, and what about some New Year's wishes? Oh, yeah, you're right, Apricot. Thank you for reminding us. Would you like to go first then? Okay, I'd like to wish everyone very many cuddles next year and do not shy away from any opportunity to get some more or anything else that makes you feel just as good as cuddles. And remember, play is the best medicine. Nice one. Thanks. What about you, Prince? Well, observing the world of humans from the spirit world now gives me even wider perspective. So I'd say just be kinder to yourself. You're doing your best, and that's enough. And also, just stay curious and stop beating yourself up so much. Very true. Yeah. And now for Aragorn. Well, for one, I'd like to wish everyone lots of nice, satisfying meals next year. And then also to notice more of those glittering lights and let them fill your heart all year round, because there's always something to twinkle your heart. Now that we've heard the New Year's wishes from our cat coaches, let's see what our guests would like us to take into the new year.
This is a good question. So I think after 2025 and the year that I've had, I would say let 2026 be a year of exploration. It's also the Chinese zodiac year of the horse, which, as I've said, is one of my favorite animals. So the year of the horse represents starting new projects, making bold choices, and following your own path. So that's definitely something I intend to do next year. So hopefully that resonates with your listeners.
My New Year's wish for people going into 2026 is to try and take a good hour out of your week every single week and spend it looking through the world from an animal's perspective, whether that is being at home if you don't have an animal and just writing an animal's perspective. The world as it is today from the perspective of a hedgehog. Write it. It will do you good. It will clear your presuppositions about how the world looks, feels, smells, sounds. It will freshen your perspective on life. If you do have an animal, even better. Spend an hour a week just trying to be as close as you can with that animal. Not taking them for a walk because they need it, not putting down their food in a grumpy way. Try and spend time properly with that animal. I think it was Freud who said, no time spent with a cat is time wasted. And it's so true. You're paying dividends to your soul when you spend time with an animal. So forget mindfulness, forget yoga. Do it if you like. I'm sure, yes, very good. Do yoga. Don't stop doing yoga. But forget all the other new age remedies. Spend a good hour a week with an animal and try and understand the world from their perspective. And if you don't have one, then imagine you do and write the world from an animal for an hour a week. That's all.
I love that. I'm gonna do that myself. Although I sort of do it, but I'm gonna try maybe pick another animal as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, reminds me what you said about the smells. It just reminds me that one bit in The Ghost Cat where you described Grimalkin smelling Ailey, basically, but the combination of the smells, I'm like, this is so genius. Like, yeah, it's not, it's, this is what she smells like to him. Like the combination of the things that we humans would never consider.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. I love that.
Yeah.
that
But a
bit.
cat can kind of break down all the
Yeah,
different smells and smell a
exactly.
hint of that. Yeah.
Which gives you such a, again, I don't know, mindful approach to life, right? When you think about this, it's amazing.
I wish for them to kind of step boldly into their magic. I hope that this new year and the year ahead, I hope that they believe in kind of their power, trust their intuition, and to remember always how magical they are, even if they come across challenges or difficult times. I really wish that they remember how magical they are and they keep this kind of awareness and faith in themselves throughout the year and manifest everything that they deserve and that they desire.
New Year's wish, I feel like if you're feeling a bit disconnected from the world and from nature, just go outside and find somewhere where you feel calm and you can look at things growing and just try to feel that connection with the land again. Doesn't really matter where, but I think that's a really important thing for all of us to do, especially now when it's easy to feel so isolated and disconnected, and especially around midwinter when It's easy when it feels like the world's it's never going to be spring again, but it's a magical time. And yes, I think it's a really perfect time to feel that connection.
Make your life everything you wish it was. Like, make whatever words really make you feel zingy inside, make your heart happy, bring those into your life. Like, if you want a magical, sparkling life, like, think, how can you make that happen within your resources and all the things you have to do and go to work and who you have to look after. But like, how can you just create more magic in your life, or more chicness or ease, or whatever things you think, oh, that would make life feel so amazing. Like, I always like to think of a luxurious lifestyle, but it's not like private planes and Hermes bags luxury lifestyle. It's like, what would just feel so deliciously luxurious and decadent? And for me, it's just a lot of free time to myself, sunshine, my happy home, that kind of thing. That's what makes me feel luxurious. And books, lots of books to read, never-ending books to read and write. And yeah, just creating my own books is just luxurious to me and magical to me, that I get to share all the things that make me happy with my readers, and they say, I really like that. Like, to have someone say that I've inspired them or helped them do different things in their life that made their life better, that just makes me so happy. So I would say to my readers, like, just work out what would make your life better, and it's going to help those around you as well. It's not just for you. Like, when you elevate your life, it actually makes it better for everybody else as well, like the loved ones around you. It's not selfish.
I guess my wish would be for you to, if you haven't already, open up your mind to the possibility of exploring a bit of magic, a bit of mystical thinking, try something new, try something you haven't done before. Allow yourself to follow your curiosity somewhere. And yeah, I just think there's so much potential in that. Read a magical book, read my book if you haven't already read it, and see if there's something in there that resonates with you, that makes you think, oh, I am going to buy an oracle deck, or I am going to try a sound bath. That would be my wish. Find some magic.
Rest and recovery. I think that there is so much, especially at the new year, of let's make better versions of ourselves. And that usually requires things like increased productivity, increased movement, increase. Sometimes you need to take things away to increase. And this is something that I've been working on a lot, is allowing myself more sleep. So just look at your sleep. Are you getting enough of it? Are you drinking enough water? Are you just chilling enough? Maybe let's focus on those things in the new year.
I would probably wish for people to take kindness towards the ones who are weaker than us, or those who need our protection, like animals, for example, or nature. I would just wish for humans to be more kind.
And that's it from the last episode of the Cat Coach Café in 2025. I really hope you have the most magical Christmas this year and the best start to 2026. I'll see you on the other side, along with the cat coaches, as always, and so much more inspiration. Until then, stay cozy, stay warm, and cuddle those cats of yours.
My name is Alex Howard, author of The Library Cat and The Ghost Cat, and I would like to wish the listeners of the Cat Coach Café a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
My name is Bethany, I am the Yogi Witch, and I wish you all a beautiful and blessed Christmas and a very happy New Year's.
My name is Fiona Ferris, and I wish you a very Merry Christmas.
My name is Carly Sorosiak, and I'm wishing you all a very Merry Christmas.
Hi everyone, this is Lily Hayward, wishing all the listeners of the Cat Coach Café a very Merry Christmas.
My name is Ross Gilman. I'm a film composer, and I wish the listeners of the Cat Coach Café a very Merry Christmas.
And Emma Howarth, and Merry Christmas.
This is CJ Fentiman, aka Carla Francis, and I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas.